What's going on in the world in Western Europe is an ongoing trend of the elites. See, the idea of them bringing in illegally all sorts of migrants that have little to no literacy and who are fully even enemies to whatever the countries that welcome them have, well, this has been an ongoing trend, but at a smaller scale. See, in communism, there was, especially in my country, there was this trend which was implemented at a certain time. Well, in Romanian it was called collectivization, I think, let's call it so. And what this implied was that a huge number of people from the rural area were forced into the city, right, into the neighboring cities. This was done with an attempt to civilize them and to school them. But this was all a lie of the elites, because they knew that, the elites knew that communism and capitalism had to fall after a certain period of time, because ultimately they were just social experiments. And when these two would fall, hopefully their games would work. What games? Well, very simple. Capitalism would lie people that there is only freedom and there is only free choice and the such, so that when the madness of today would trigger, people would simply sway in and, dance the dance of madness, because everyone apparently is free to say and do whatever they want and ignore the morality of life. And in communism, the point was that a lot of the people from the countryside would be brought to the cities. Now, this was a great problem because the system was taught that they can actually school those people. Well, schooling was possible, I'm not denying it, but the problem is you are having to deal with people who for thousands of years they lived in the rural areas. Working the land was the only thing they knew. They didn't have much proclivity towards, learning and doing anything else. They were way too used to their simple way of life. And when they were forced to the city, it was a great advance for them because now everything was so much simpler. But still they remained, unfortunately, simple-minded, because when you work the land in the countryside, you have quite the sustenance that you require, but you don't have time to deal with other things. You don't have time to learn, you don't have time to do other things because, well, it is very costly, time-wise, to maintain the land, to take care of the animals, and whatever other household chores you would have. So these people were very busy. Now, when they were swapped to the town, their life got entirely easier. And with the appearance of technology, they would easily be swayed away from their lifestyle because everyone wants something new. That's, how this society functions. After everyone has been doing the same thing karmically, and they are prone to do it anyways, because when you see everyone doing the same thing, obviously you're going to do the same thing, especially when you see that as a child and you become programmed that that's kind of the only reality you can have. Everyone, in a way, deep down inside longs for something different. So that's how systems fail so easily, because after a sufficiently long time, people were inclined to do something else and literally not ask anything in return should someone bring in the change, right? They didn't have any demands. A change was brought, so people simply embraced them. When capitalism and communism fell and corporatism or corporatocracy started extending its tendrils, people simply welcomed it as a sign of evolution. But the big problem was you had in the capitalist side of the world, you had a lot of people who thought they have all the rights in the world, but they didn't have much of a culture. And the West, being far more civilized than a lot of the places on the earth and being far more welcoming in a way, they were swayed into this game of allowing all sorts of people from, third world countries to join in. They were not, unfortunately, knowledgeable of the fact that it was all a game, because those people who would come were the same as during the collectivization within the communist countries. Romania was such a target. So these people are similar to the collectivized, peasants, because they come from very, very poor countries where culture, being schooled and the such, are very different, and schooling is kind of hard to achieve anyways. So you are bringing in people with completely different cultures. At times it's questionable whether some of them even have some. I've seen a few of these people even in my hometown, and it's quite a cultural shock, to be certain, because many of these people don't seem to know what taking a shower is. Some of them simply take a dump in the middle of the street. And when you have your authorities paid to support such people, when these people will settle in your country, your whole civilization is endangered. When you look in the West, well, what we see in the West is just the bad side and, the frustrated side of the Islamic world. Because you're not going to see, the cream, the creme brulee, or whatever you want to say, the better of Islamic people. You're going to see the frustrated ones that are easily swayed and paid into doing all sorts of damage, right? Those fanatics doing all sorts of havoc in France, Germany, and especially in England. They are paid deliberately, right? They are the same illiterate folks who don't care about anything when it comes to going to a different country. They're just paid to expand their own agenda. But little do they know that they don't even matter in the whole big picture, because the agenda is that they are be used. They will be discarded afterwards, because their purpose is to dream that they will impose their Islam. But you're forgetting the elites do not care about Islam and Christianity. They only care about Zionism. And Zionism is about killing everyone afterwards. You can always make use of traitors, but any sane or especially insane system will obviously discard them, because whoever betrayed once obviously will betray a second time, right? So with these aspects, society is going on again and again through the same exact things. It's all being repeated. Let's not forget that the current elites, their ancestors did the same thing in Russia when they killed all the Russian elites, all their leaders, all their competent people. Why? So that the masses wouldn't have whom to elevate them, and they would just remain idiotic and easy to manipulate. The same thing with collectivization was aimed in the communist countries as well. Because let's not forget, communism was done by the Khazars, right? The same fuckers who now pose themselves as the elites of the world. And the same thing was done technically in the so-called capitalist world, because they gave people the idea that they are free to think everything they want. When you have frustrated people who are frustrated with the system, well, their system was done in a very easy way, right? It was not a communist one, but it functioned in a very simple way. Frustrate people with corporate jobs, give people all the money in the world at start, and then slowly and surely and deliberately, obviously, impoverish them. And when they get sick of the system, then simply implode it by, triggering everyone's frustrations, right? Nowadays, everyone hates everyone, and that's a good means to keep the separation, right? So hopefully this raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Hopefully this video raised in the end some awareness. Take care, enjoy life, and remember, it is everyone's responsibility to improve things around them at least. Or if people around you don't follow you as an example of betterment, well, you either are not a good example for them, or, well, you should simply turn inward and improve your life. Because the better your life becomes, well, some people will hate you, some will deliberately try to pull you down, others might even follow you. All you have to do is simply live by your own ideals, in a way that you don't hurt the others and you don't hurt society, obviously. And, well, societal morals are kind of changing, but, well, you should live always by the morals of life. This being said, take care, enjoy life. Ferenc Board signing out.